Part 1. The Cobbler. He came into the village in the middle of the day, when the road was dry and the sky hung low but clear above the glen. At first, there was nothing remarkable about him, just another traveller on the road. Several paces ahead moved a grey wolfhound, lean as the land itself. The dog passed the well, the byre, the low stone walls, and not a single village dog barked after it. That was what made folk look twice. By the time the stranger reached the first row of cottages, eyes were already upon him. Not all eyes, never all, but enough. The cobbler noticed him from the doorway of his workshop. He had been bent over the same pair of shoes since morning. Fine leather, once. Good work, too. But now they were torn, split clean through at the seam. The kind of damage that did not forgive poor hands. They belonged to the laird, and the laird was not a patient man. The cobbler rubbed at his brow and muttered under his breath, turning the shoe over once again, as though it might somehow mend itself if he stared at it long enough. That was when the dog stopped outside his door. It did not step inside. It simply stood there, watching. A moment later, the man appeared behind it. He asked for nothing, said nothing. He looked once at the cobbler, then at the shoe. The cobbler straightened, uneasy for reasons he could not name. "Not your concern," he said, sharper than he intended. "I've work enough without." The stranger stepped forward, not rudely, not slowly either. He set down his habsack beside the door and crouched near the bench. The cobbler almost told him to leave. Almost. But there was something in the way the man handled the shoe, as though he already understood it. The words died in the cobbler's throat. The stranger turned the shoe once in his hands, then set it aside. That was what struck the cobbler first. Not the confidence, not the silence, the fact that he did not try to repair it. Instead, he opened his bag. Inside were tools, worn smooth from years of use and cared for with quiet diligence. A hammer, blades, awls, the sort of tools any working man might carry. But wrapped deep among them lay a length of leather. Good leather. Better than anything the cobbler had been given for the task. The stranger drew it out without ceremony. "Hold on," the cobbler said, stepping forward. Those aren't for..." The man did not look up. He simply began, cutting cleanly, measuring without measure, working as though the shape of the thing already existed somewhere beyond sight, and he was merely uncovering it. Outside, the wolfhound lay down by the doorway. Its head rested upon its paws, its eyes half closed, yet somehow still watching. Time passed. The village carried on as it always did. Slow, steady. But now and then, someone paused at the workshop door, watching, speaking not a word. As the afternoon light began to soften, the stranger finally set his tools aside. On the bench sat a new pair of shoes, not patched, not repaired, made, fashioned from little more than leather, and knowing. The cobbler stepped closer. His hands hovered above them, as though he feared touching them might break whatever spell had shaped them. They were finer than his own work, finer than anything he had made in years. "Who taught you that?" he asked quietly. The stranger wiped his hands upon a cloth and said nothing. Outside, the dog lifted its head, as though it had heard something no one else could. The cobbler swallowed, still staring at the shoes, "They'll do," he said softly. "Aye, they'll more than do." He glanced toward the doorway, then back to the man. "You'll be staying, I take it?" The stranger stood and lifted the habsack onto his shoulder once more. He did not answer, but neither did he leave. And by the time the laird came to collect his shoes, the whole village knew the stranger had arrived, though afterward none could quite say when they had first noticed him.